Chapter 3 Meeting the President. Anakin, Ahsoka, Rex, and the rest of the clones sit in silence in the back of the aircraft they've been loaded into. C-130, the locals called it. Armed guards are sitting within a few yards of them, hanging onto their weapons, including Anakin and Ahsoka's lightsabers. The base commander, General Rogers, had given them a brief briefing on where they were. The planet they were on was known as Earth, but also known as Terra. They had landed in a country known as the United States of America, whose inhabitants were collectively known as Americans. He had also told them that their president had requested to meet with them, so the Americans at the base had loaded them onto the C-130, a large transport aircraft, which was now flying north towards America's capital city. Ahsoka wrings her hands a bit. "They're being a little overly cautious, don't you think?" she asked her master. "Well, they've never had visitors from another planet. And I gotta admit, showing up with a task force above their planet, they're bound to be cautious," Anakin says. "Well, they have to believe us. The Separatists are going to conquer this planet easily," Ahsoka says. "I know, Snips, but right now they know nothing about us. When I can already see these Terrans, it may take them a little while to trust us," Anakin responds. Ahsoka just nods in return. Then the plane lurches a bit and shakes a bit. "What was that?" Ahsoka calls out. "We're descending," one of the guards responds. Ahsoka simply nods. Anakin, Ahsoka, and the clones try to wait patiently as the aircraft descends. Finally, they feel the plane shake a lot as it touches down. It's another few minutes before they feel the plane stop. After another minute, the back of the plane finally starts to lower. "All right, everybody up," one of the guards orders. Anakin stands, along with Ahsoka and the clones. They slowly follow the guards out of the plane. They walk across the tarmac to where some other aircraft, which General Rogers had called helicopters, are waiting. "All right, half in one, half in the other," one of the guards orders. Anakin and Ahsoka go into one of the helicopters, along with Rex, Fives, and 2 other clones. The other 6 clones climb into the other helicopter. 4 guards climb into each helicopter as well. The helicopter pilots power up their helicopters, and the engines begin warming up. Within a few minutes, the helicopters lift off the ground and head west. After a very short flight, the helicopters stop in midair and slowly lower to the ground. After a minute, the doors of the helicopters open, and the guards outside who open them motion for the passengers to get out of the helicopters. Anakin and Ahsoka both hop out, followed by the clones. They look around themselves and see they've landed in a large grassy area, with trees and bushes, which is surrounding a large white building. "Follow us," one of the guards orders. Anakin nods respectfully, and he, Ahsoka, and the clones follow the guard, with more guards following behind them. "What is this place?" Ahsoka asks. "The White House. It's the personal residence of the President of the United States," one of the guards responds. Anakin looks around the grounds. It's clear how seriously the Americans take their president's security, as he can see dozens of guards and missile launchers. But he also realizes some of these may just be here because of them. The guards lead him, Ahsoka, and the clones through the front doors of the White House. They march them down multiple hallways and staircases until they finally reach a room with a sign on the door that reads, "White House Situation Room." "The President is waiting for you inside. You may take one of your soldiers inside, the rest will have to remain out here with us," the leader of the guards says. "Very well. Rex, you're with us. The rest of you, stay out here with our hosts," Anakin says. Fives and the rest of the clones nod. Anakin then turns to the leader of the guards and nods. The man opens the door, and Anakin, Ahsoka, and Rex all walk in. As they enter, they stop and look around. There are multiple soldiers, all armed, inside the room. Several men in military uniforms are sitting around the tables, along with a few men in suits. At the opposite end of the table from them is a man in a suit, looking towards them firmly but calmly. "So, you are visitors from space," the man at the end of the table says. "Yes, I'm assuming you're the president?" Anakin asks. "Yes, I'm President George H.W. Bush of the United States of America," he responds. Anakin bows his head respectfully. "A pleasure to meet you, sir. I'm Anakin Skywalker, Knight of the Jedi Order and General of the Grand Army of the Republic. This is my Padawan learner, or apprentice, Ahsoka Tano, my captain of the 501st Legion, Captain Rex, Anakin says to introduce himself and his two companions. President Bush simply nods. He then looks at Ahsoka and demands, "What are you exactly?" "I'm what's called a Togruta. Don't worry, I'm no more harm to you than these two are," Ahsoka says calmly. President Bush nods slowly before speaking. "I apologize if we seem too cautious, but you're our first extraterrestrial visitors and we aren't quite sure what to expect. Perhaps you can enlighten us as to why you've come here, and why there's something that seems akin to a task force in orbit above our planet," he demands. "That may take a minute to explain, Mr. President, but I will try to be quick about it," Anakin responds. He takes a deep breath and begins his explanation. "We come from your neighboring galaxy. In our galaxy, interplanetary travel has existed for millennia. Thousands of years ago, much of the inhabited planets in the galaxy joined together to form the Galactic Republic. For thousands of years, the Republic has fostered peace and democracy, governed by the Galactic Senate. The Jedi Order, which Ahsoka and I are members of, have been guardians of peace and prosperity in the Republic." Anakin pauses for a moment to let that sink in, then continues, "Over the last few years, a number of systems have grown disillusioned with the Republic and attempted to secede from the Republic. They call themselves the Confederacy of Independent Systems, or simply the Separatists. They have been led by a former Jedi named Count Dooku. However, we recently discovered that Count Dooku has become a Sith. The Sith are the ancient enemies of the Jedi, who we long thought extinct, only to recently discover they weren't. Count Dooku is the apprentice to an as-of-yet unknown Sith Master, and is leading the Separatists. About 6 months ago, the Separatists and Republic officially went to war after the Battle of Geonosis. The Clone Wars have now been raging ever since. About a month ago, we discovered that the Confederacy had begun to explore this galaxy, searching for the source of some mysterious signals. Fearing they would encounter a planet unable to protect itself from them, the Republic sent me and my task force to search for the source of the signals. We traced them here to your planet. We have come to warn you about the Separatists and to seek alliance with your planet. We believe it is only a matter of time before the Separatists find you. We intend to help your planet against the eventual onslaught of the Separatists," Anakin explains. President Bush is quiet for a few moments. Then he asks, "Why should we take you at your word?" "Because if we meant you harm, we could have started firing on your planet from orbit and dispatched a few hundred starfighters to start attacking your cities. Trust me, we could have already caused serious damage to your country and your entire planet if we meant you harm." President Bush leans back in his chair, silent for several moments. Finally, he says, "Well, I do have to agree with you. Your choice to try and contact us first and your extreme pacifism you showed toward us, despite how cautious and seemingly harsh we've been, gives me cause to believe you. But, as I've been told you've already been told, there's almost 200 countries on this planet, some of which the United States is not on the best of terms with. You may have a hard time convincing the rest of the countries on Earth to follow your lead." One of the other men then leans forward. "If I may ask, what makes you Jedi so special?" he asks. Anakin smirks a bit. "Well, that's a fairly simple answer. As we Jedi know, there is something known as the Force, which is an energy field that binds all living things and keeps the galaxy and the universe together. Some individuals of almost any sentient species can be Force sensitive, allowing for them to have incredible powers, such as telekinesis, mental manipulation, and various other powers. The Force has a light side and a dark side. We, the Jedi, follow the light side and protect the Republic and serve the galaxy. The Sith, our ancient enemies, follow the dark side, and their intent has always been the domination of the galaxy," Anakin says. He then reaches out his hand, and to prove his point about the Force, levitates two of the soldiers, who cry out in surprise in spite of themselves. The other guards start to aim their weapons at Anakin, but Anakin lowers the two men back to the floor. "Why do you think Earth can't protect itself?" one of the men in military uniforms asks. Well, no offense, but you're a lot less advanced than the Republic or Separatists, as you can see. Also, the Separatists use an army of battle droids, which are armed with blasters. To use terms you may be a bit more familiar with, they use a massive army of robots armed with laser guns. From what I can see of your weapons, your soldiers don't have the right weapons to defend against a concentrated Separatist invasion. Rex responds respectfully. The man who asked the question looks like he wants to argue, but President Bush raises his hand. Enough, General. They may not know exactly how big Earth's militaries are, or what weapons we possess, but if they believe so firmly we can't do this on our own, I'm inclined to believe them. They know a lot more about these Separatists than we do, he says. The General nods and remains quiet. President Bush looks at Anakin for a moment, then says, "We have already contacted several countries, namely our biggest allies and our biggest rivals or enemies, letting them know what's happening and that I would be meeting with you. They will be waiting for updates. What would you advise I do?" "Let them know we mean you no harm, and that we wish to speak with them too," Anakin responds. "Is there any way for us to speak to the leader of every country?" Ahsoka asks as she enters the conversation. "In a way. We may not necessarily have a single world government, but there is an organization known as the United Nations, an organization intended to bring greater unity between the nations of the world. Each country on Earth has a representative at the United Nations. Right now, representatives are gathered at the United Nations building in New York City, which is here in America. I can arrange for you to speak to them, and they can confer your words to their respective national leaders. However, I will warn you right now, there will be some countries that will not be eager to follow you, simply because of the connection you already have with us. They will be more inclined to follow this confederacy. If what you say is true, we will need complete unity across the world," President Bush responds. One of the men in a suit leans forward. "If I may, Mr. President, what I would recommend is a meeting by the UN Security Council before these guys speak to the UN as a whole. We're likely to get greater agreement there. As part of that meeting, we can discuss what to do regarding any nations unwilling to join the rest of the world against this confederacy," he says. "Good idea. I'll arrange that," President Bush says. "Mr. President, if I may, do I have permission to contact my task force, and from there my leaders back home?" Anakin asks. "Yes, General Skywalker, I'll permit that," President Bush responds. "What would you like me to tell them, sir?" Anakin asks. "Tell them that for the time being we are inclined to believe you, and are willing to negotiate with the Republic. For now, do not say we have a definite alliance. That may take a while to smooth out. Also, I would like a more senior leader, and perhaps a member of your Galactic Senate, to come to Earth. I would also like the opportunity to speak to the leaders of the Jedi, if possible," President Bush responds. "Understood, Mr. President. I will communicate those wishes to the Jedi Council and the Senate immediately. I will also see if they can send some extra warships as well," Anakin responds. President Bush simply nods. Anakin, Ahsoka, and Rex exit the room, and find the rest of the clones sitting and swapping war stories with the guards, who now seem very at ease with their mysterious new visitors. "Troopers, seems like we have our first allied nation here on this planet. The President has asked me to contact the Council and the Senate. Hopefully we'll be getting reinforcements soon," Anakin says. "Understood, General," Vibes answers. Anakin then leads Ahsoka and Rex up a floor before pulling out his comlink. After a few moments, Admiral Yularen's image pops up. "Hello, General. I was getting worried," Yularen comments. "It's okay, Admiral. I've made contact with the government of a country that seems to be a dominant power on this planet. They've been friendly enough, but very cautious. They're willing to forge an alliance with us. They want to speak to a higher commander, and would like such a commander and a senator to come to this planet. The President of this nation would also like the opportunity to speak to the Jedi Council," Anakin responds. "Understood, General. I'll pass the message on. I'll contact you when I receive a reply," Admiral Yularen responds before the transmission is terminated. Several hours later. Anakin is waiting in a room in the White House with Ahsoka and Rex. It's been a few hours since they contacted Admiral Yularen, and they've just been waiting ever since. Some staff brought them food, and some of the guards decided to stop and talk to them. They swapped some war stories, and now the guards are trying to teach the off-worlders some of their favorite card games. Right as Anakin is taking his turn in a game called Go Fish, his comlink begins to buzz. "Excuse me, Anakin says as he sets his cards down. He picks up the comm bling and activates it. A moment later, an image of Admiral Yularen pops up. Admiral, what news? Anakin asks. General, I have received orders back from the Senate and the Jedi Council. The second task is departing from Coruscant immediately. They'll be bringing Generals Kenobi, Windu, and Yoda, along with Senator Bail Organa. They will also be bringing a surplus of blasters and other weapons to arm the locals with for the coming fight, Admiral Yularen says. Thank you, Admiral. Maintain the task force position in orbit. We will remain planetside and wait for the reinforcements to arrive, and continue to try and establish relations with the countries here on the planet, Anakin says. Yes, sir, Admiral Yularen responds before cutting off the transmission. Anakin puts his comm link away and looks at the gathered group. Well, guys, reinforcements are coming, he says. Great, should we go tell the President? Ahsoka asks. After we finish this game, Anakin says with a smirk as he sits down. He picks up his hand, looks at Rex, and asks, Do you have any sevens?